out there in YouTube world, ignore this mess. We're still in the process of, quote, moving around. So a friend of mine is starting to learn how to beautify herself. So what I'm going to do today is just basically record my morning routine as I would any morning, although this morning I don't have to rush, so that's a bonus. My hair is in curlers. I wish I had a spare one to show you, but I leave it in as long as possible. These have been in overnight. I'm using the Big Hair Salon Shine Texturing Salt Spray by Charles Worthington. A lot of people just take their hair out and then spray crap in it. Well, I do that too, but if you put this in the creases of all of your rolls, per se, it actually helps volumize it up top, because you're already going to have the volume from the curls. So just spray a little here and there. It's hard to do the back, you got to kind of feel for it. Alright, we let that sit. When it comes to makeup, I am messy. So grab an old towel, old something. As you can see, this has crap all over it. Well, if you're already dressed like I am, take the towel and just set it down on your lap for any of the falling particles that may or may not come your way. I don't normally have everything laid out like I do right now, but it is an option. I'm gonna put this down a little bit. There we go. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is put a moisturizer on. It doesn't matter what moisturizer, as long as it works for your skin type. I should also point out I am not a professional. I do not pride myself in knowing everything about everything, because I don't. I just know what works with my face and my hair, and so this is what you're going to get. So I use the Sensitive Skin Experts because I have extremely sensitive skin everywhere. So we put that on just enough to thoroughly moisturize. You don't want to put too much on, because then it'll be hard for your primer to stick in. And make sure that gets all over. And this will help prevent the oil, because I have really oily skin, from showing its face during the day, because we don't like that. Alright, you want to give that about 2 minutes to set in. I will be right back after the 2 minutes. Alright, next step. I have quite a few different types of primers. So I have NYC. I don't spend a lot of money on this. I probably should, but I don't. This one's for if I just want to have a more, when I use darker things on my skin, I use, of course, how I remember, dark lid, dark things. I also have the e.l.f. illuminating powder that I use whenever I just want to look natural. Well, today we're going for natural look. So don't use too much. You just want to use enough to where you can feel it cover your entire face. So I use maybe a pump. Usually a pump is just a little too much, but what are you gonna do? So make sure that is also covering the face. And when you put it on, you'll be able to feel the difference. It feels really smooth and kind of like, I don't know, dusty feeling. It's awesome. So you apply that all over, except directly on your eyelids. Unless you do not have an eyelid primer, then apply it to your eyelids. And it's important that you make sure you get your T-zone. Again, don't over apply. You'll be able to feel when you over apply, because it'll feel very slimy. The next trick that I do, I don't even know if this makes a huge difference, but it has for me whenever I actually apply stuff. So I want to push on my face, not hard, but just like make sure I'm pushing that into my skin nice and gently to get into all those pores. I'm blessed not to have big pores, but I know a good friend of mine that does, and this helps your makeup stay on, because when you have those big pores, they like to not let you have your makeup on. So while this is setting, because I usually let it set until it doesn't feel wet anymore, I also wanted to discuss the fact there's like 3 different types of people who put on makeup. There's people who put on just eyeshadow, eyeliner, lipstick, no concealer. Then there's people that put on concealer enough to look natural, and then there's people who do all the contouring and all that. I do not do contouring. I want my face to still look natural. I still want to see my freckles. Yes, I have a blemish here, and I have one down here, and I don't care. Everybody gets blemishes. Welcome to the adult world. But I don't want my makeup to be so caked on that you can't see, like, me, like my skin. I'm proud of my skin. It's healthy skin, and I have beautiful freckles. So, contouring videos, they have plenty of them on here. I prefer just the way that I do my makeup. If you want a little bit more coverage, I'm not experienced with that because I don't do tons of coverage. And if you have ginormous pores or something that needs a little bit more attention, I know there are a lot of videos that people do have those, and they want to make sure that they, cover those up and everything. Have a look at their videos. So right now, my primer is set in pretty darn good. So I am going to get my basket of goodies, pull out my foundation, and then go ahead and go with my eye primer that can set in there while I'm putting my foundation on. So my eye primer, I just put on enough to cover the lid of my eyeball. Ta-da! Rub it in, kind of get it mixed up to a point where you want to make sure your whole face has some sort of primer on it. So I do push it up into the brow line because I did not put tons of primer there. Now my concealer, I go between like 3 different types. I'm always a CoverGirl girl. So this time we're going to use the Stay Luminous. And I use the Beauty Sponge, which you need to get wet. I've tried both methods of warm water and cool water, and it's a personal choice, I think. I prefer the cool water because it actually doesn't make me sweat while I'm putting my makeup on, which is a bonus, and it's refreshing. So what I do is I put my concealer 2 different squirts on the back of my hand. I'm a person that cleans as I go. And then my Beauty Blender, woohoo, already wet, freshly cleaned. That's important. Make sure you clean it, if not every day, at least every other day. I have the Beauty Blender Cleaner. It works marvelously. I don't know what other options there are out there, but whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat, great. So I use the big end, because they come in different shapes, but I have the teardrop. So I use the bottom end to apply my base foundation, and you want to gently dab it, all along your face. And this is the part that I judge how much is on there because I still want to see my freckles. I don't want them to go away, but I do want the redness, the discoloration, the dark skin, dark eyes, whatever. I want that gone. And this is a perfect tool for it. And doing this makes it stay on a little bit longer than what it would, excuse me, if I didn't use it. So, sorry, I'm looking in my beauty mirror because my phone does not have proper lighting. Make sure you get your forehead, even though you're going to have your hair down, into your hairline. Makes it look way more natural. And I'm not one of those people that wants people to think my makeup's just ridiculous. Make sure you get, of course, the most obvious portion of your T-zone right here in between your eyebrows. If you have oily skin, that is key. Make sure it is all up in there. Then I switch to my pointy end and I do my nose because your nose has a funky shape, and I sound funny when I do this. The Beauty Blender bottom part won't get all the areas because your nose has so many turns. Switch back to my base. Make sure, as weird as this sounds, do your lips, but do them all at once so that the foundation has enough time to set into your lip crevices and all that fun junk. And you want to make your lips really tight when you do it, so that way when it comes loose, you can see exactly where there's too much applied. If you do it loose like this, you can have it build up in crevices and not know until you put your lipstick on. Alright, switch back to the teardrop thing. Now we're going for the important part of under the eyes. Now, when you go under the eyes, I've learned, don't swipe like this. That just makes the bags that all of us lovely ladies have, regardless if you want to admit it or not, way more prevalent. So if you like dab and pull down a little, it actually takes away from those bags under the eyes. And you want to kind of do it in a T form, so it's all blended well, because keep in mind, this is just foundation. Everything should look uniform. And I have a major problem with having like redness right here at the edge of my eyes. I have horrible allergies and issues with rubbing, eye watering, all that. Doing it with the pointed T and going out, I can't say it eliminates it, but it makes it way less noticeable. And then the most important part for me, because I don't do that fake draw my eyebrow on my face, because I have no eyebrows, as you can tell, they're pretty prominent. You're going to take it and put it right underneath the eyebrow, because that for me is a very shiny spot when I don't want it to be shiny. Then you want to do a once over in your mirror, make sure you haven't missed any spots, and blend in the bottom. This is the only part that you should be rubbing, and that's just to make sure that your skin should always match, woohoo, your chest. Might get a little dark, but it should always match what's going on in your chest. Take that magic towel I was talking about to put on your lap, and you have just completed foundation. Now you want to wait until it dries. Like, I watch a lot of videos and people just keep packing the layers on. Like, let your skin absorb what you're putting on. Now I have 2 powders that I will be putting on my face, and then 2 types of blush. So first, of course, is our regular loose powder. Again, CoverGirl. You want to try and match your brands because they actually work a lot better together in unison when they're the same brand. If you've never tried loose powder before, don't be afraid of it. It's actually kind of awesome. It's messy, but it's awesome. So, to remove the lid easily, I use 2 different brushes to apply my powder. I have this one that is very thick at the bottom but has a lot of loose bristles at the top. I have no idea what it's called. I don't know the brand. I don't care. It's my favorite. The second one I have is more of a just rounded brush. So we're going to start with the first one, and what you do is once you dip it into the powder, go to the lid and put it in the lid, because although I only dipped it in once, and I didn't even dip it in very much, that is how much powder got onto my brush. If you just dip it in and go, you're going to have powder spots all over the place. That's not good. So use your excess that's in your lid, and you want to go around and gently kind of just get that powder on. You do not want the powder on your lips, or else it's going to affect how your lipstick goes onto your lips. So kind of seal your lips. Don't forget to pay attention to underneath your chin and cheek area, because that still needs to blend in with your other foundations. And since I am one of those lovely people with oily skin, boy, do I make sure my T-zone is covered. Alright, done with this brush. Now with this one, I don't use it all over my face. This is how I hide my pimples. I still see my freckles, I love them. This is how I hide my pimples. So I just go over the spots that need a little bit more concealing, because I would prefer to make them look like freckles than make them look like hugely covered up pimples, because that's what they are. One sec, gotta take a drink. It's kind of dryish when you're talking a lot. Alright, so foundation technically done. Alright, now the next thing I use, I do not like lots of blush. I have naturally really high cheekbones when I smile, and I do not want them to be like bam. No need. So I grab my bigger fluff brush, and I use a color wheel with lots of different types of palettes in it. It's not technically, I don't really know what you're supposed to use this for, but I use it for the base of my blush, because it actually does turn my cheeks a little bit like blushy, but the final one that I put on definitely does. Always smile. And you want to take it from the apple of your cheek up to almost your hairline, but don't like, I don't know how to explain it. You want to put the most of it on your apple of your cheek and then just kind of blend it in up to your hairline. Simple. I don't know if that's considered contouring. Part of my routine, whatever. Next thing I do is my finishing powder. Highly important if you have extremely oily skin. This crap will absorb the oil and not make it look so oily. So you want to apply the same method that we just did for the loose powder. I use the biggest brush I have, which is this ginormous, woohoo. Dip it in once, go into the lid, get all that excess out, so I'm just using what I need to. Hold your breath, because I don't know if you can see all the powder that comes out, because this stuff is very, very fine. You want to go ahead and apply it all over except the eyelids. Again, all over the face except your eyelids. So ready, set, go. Alrighty. And I know I said I had two things I put on my cheek. I use this weird funky looking brush. It's like one of my favorites because it's really cool looking. And I have a very highly shimmery, I probably can't see it in the light too well. A little bit of this crap goes a really long way. But it's perfect for making it look like I had like a sun-kissed cheekbone. I don't know. I do not use very much, just enough so I can see the glitter on the end of it, and then I just dab it. Probably best if you smile, but I already know where my cheekbones are. And for the face, as far as face actual goes, that is all I do for my face. Give me a sec to pick all this up and get my eye stuff out. Alright, this is the portion of my makeup that actually takes longer than anything else. Woohoo! Almost broke the desk. I'll be looking a little bit more downward. I guess I could rotate the camera a little. Okay. Sorry. Allergies are already kicking in. So I use multiple palettes. I don't care the brand, I care about how long they last on my face. And again, each brand lasts a different brand on everybody's face. So I'll be messing with this for a little bit. Be messing with this for a little bit. And then my e.l.f. eyeshadow Sweet. I love e.l.f., but a lot of their stuff is very shimmery. I'm not a big shimmery person, but this does help with the smoky eye. Because I do all my makeup in smoky eye. It's just the degree and colors that I use. I also do not, can't say I don't draw on my eyebrows, because to an extent, I guess I do, but my eyebrows are already waxed to meet this, it's really hard to see, but it has a little bitty thing that goes through it, and it's my base, and this is what I start with, because it's to get that, right here I have very, very thin eyebrows. And so what I do is I have my two-toned eyeshadow or eyebrow shadow. I use my very, very thin, it came with it, it's a very super thin angled brush. And I start with the light color first, because, well, I usually only use the light color. I use the dark color whenever it's like, I really want to make a statement. So I just line up my lovely eyebrows. I guess it'd be easier if I looked at my mirror and not on my phone. So it's lined up, it's exactly how my eyebrows are waxed. All I do is go through and put the powder in, more along the lines in the beginning, because that's where most of my I don't have eyebrow look is. And it looks a little fakeish right now, but I have a few little techniques that make it look like that's my real brow. I mean, it is, but make sure you wipe off when you're done using one side, or else you're going to have it all over yourself on the other. So, same process repeats for this side. This one's this one really doesn't like me ever. I'm telling you, being symmetrical on both sides is a little difficult. See right there, you get the stuff from the excess. Alright, so, powder done. Oh, that looks horrible. Let me fix this a little. Okay. So, I always gotta double check myself. Yep. Alright. Powder part of that is done. Now, I bought these off of a Chinese website. They're the most amazing things ever. I have no idea what they're technically called. This is like an eyeliner pencil, specifically meant for your eyebrow, that is angled, very easy to apply. I do that part next, because it just helps with the coloring, makes it look a little bit more not just powder, like you've actually just put, oh, sorry, my nose is going crazy. You've actually just put stuff on your eyebrows. Next part, I actually just got this in the mail because I'm part of the Ipsy bags. Totally do it, so much fun. And it's like a mascara for your eyebrows, but it actually helps. I have very long eyebrow hairs. I have been trimming them, and this helps for them to stay in place when the wind goes crazy, or when you just, I don't know, have one of those very emotional days. We're women, you know what I mean. So this helps a lot too to make it look a way more, yeah, natural. What do I do with that? Then I have basically a mascara brush, and this just, I go over and I just make sure it looks uniform, because right now this one's a little sloppy and this front right here is very sloppy. So it just like blends it all together and makes sure that everything stays where it's supposed to be. Eyebrows. For some reason, okay, the camera makes this one look horrible. I don't know what the deal is. Let me see if I can switch the light. Yeah, it works a little better. Okay. Next step is your eye lids, because we're going to put beautiful makeup on it. So let's get started. Now, I am the queen of freaking, I don't know what you want to call it. Trash can. Okay, I love the, I'm having a brain fart. The look I'm getting ready to do. I do it with all of my eyeshadows. I don't ever do just one thing across the eye. I don't know who does that anymore. But I use multiple brushes, none of which you have to have. These are recent investments of these brushes. These are the 4 that I usually use. This is a really fat angled brush. That's what I use for the ends. Then you've got a shorter, less full brush that I use for my lining. This one is more of a blender brush for me to blend all of my different colors together, and this one is my base that I apply my first color on. So my base color is actually going to be this e.l.f. shadow. Well, not that e.l.f. shadow. That's very, very pink. Never mind. We're going to use this one as our base. A lot of people go with like the lightest color possible first, which if you want to treat it like your nails and put some white on there and then do it, fine. I'm older. I don't really want my stuff look like a Barbie girl painted it on. So I generally just do the whole eyelid in this neutral-ish color. So you can see that it looks kind of dark. It's really not that dark of a color, but alright. Next, we're going to, I'm done with this brush. Next I take my angled brush, and I really don't have the color I want. I have way too much makeup, so let's find a color that I like. This color looks good. Okay. Next, I'm going to get this sort of reddish color that I do like. You don't want too much on there or else it's going to look really bad in your crease. And this just helps define your eye. You want it to be darker than your base, but not the darkest color you put on, because then it'll look like craziness. And of course, you want to put more towards the end of your eye, or towards the outer part of your eye, than you do the inner, because I'm, again, going for that. I remembered, it's called a smoky eye look. That's what I like to do. You want to clean up as you go, because you will have, you're using powders. They fall on your face, just kind of gently wipe them off. They'll come off really easily. Then my lovely brushity brush. I'll be using the lighter color, which is in this palette, this light pretty. Sorry, make sure my brush doesn't have anything dark in it. I didn't clean it yesterday. So you take the lighter color and you want to apply it towards the inner part of your eye. But not so much so that you cover up your base, just enough so that you can have like the contrast. That's what you're trying to build here, is the contrast. What I do is just do a big circular motion and then out. Alright, this is my favorite part. I love this brush. I don't know what I've been doing for so long without it. It does smoky eye. It makes smoky eyes so much easier. So I'm going to use this darker brown color right here for my smoky eye. Do not use a lot because it will go everywhere. So you just dab a couple times. And I even go as far as blowing off my extra. You just want to go to the very end of your eye and start dabbing inward. See this big, huge thing that you don't want there? I will fix that later. Don't wipe it because it's dark. It'll smudge everywhere. You want to do the same thing to the other eye. Okay. So, like I said, please don't wipe this down. Then you're going to look like you just ruined all of your makeup. So, I grab myself a brush I have not used at all yet. Make sure it's cleaned out, not full of darkies. And then just start brushing it away. You still want a little bit of it there to make that contour important, but you want most of it to be gone. So that when I open my eyes, it does not look like craziness. Woo-hoo. Yeah, because I'm that crazy person. This is why I'm special and have lots of good friends. Oh. But see how you can still see it there, you can still see it here, but it's not like that predominant craziness. You want to take the same brush and just swipe over once. Now, I do go one step further because it looks very dull to me right now. And I take a little itty bitty tiny brush that's actually kind of fluffy, but my tiny brush, and I dab it into my loose powder of e.l.f. that is kind of like a pink color, and that is what goes right in the middle, like right at the beginning of my eye, because I feel like it gives it that extra definition. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but this is with it, and that's without it. Yeah, I need to work on my lighting. I apologize ahead of time, but trust me, if you look in a mirror, you can totally tell the difference. And same thing over here. And then I also apply that same color, same technique, not tons, right underneath the eyebrow. It helps to brighten your features. It's one of those little tricks that they